Shalom Israel. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, all honor and glory to Yahweh by Shem Shai, by Shem Kakadash, that born to the apostles, and those who great millstone for teaching us truth. Peace and blessings, all like to Israel and Shalom. Yahweh is the name of the heavenly Father in Hebrew, by Shem's name, and Yahweh Shai is the name of the begotten Son. Back on the lesson, and today, going to these riots, these protests that we are seeing, and ultimately this particular situation that happened with the Supreme Court, overturning Roe v. Wade, and ultimately how they're using this as a front, ultimately as a distraction to keep you occupied on these things while they slowly take away your rights and do these things under your nose without you realizing. What you already see now with the Second Amendment, how they're trying to take away the guns and how they're orchestrating these different shootings that are happening all around the world, or specifically here in America. You know, would you see people holding certain speeches, when we're going to do something, the gun's the problem, this and that, slowly trying to take away your rights, ultimately to condition and prepare you for this MOTB, also in order to not really have a fight, when they bring that hammer down. So gonna get a little bit more information on this. It says, in the wake of the U.S. Supreme Court's decision to overturn 1973's landmark abortion decision Roe v. Wade, people have taken to the streets in protests across the U.S. Keep it here for the latest from the ground. We see many people protesting, which yesterday was just all protests, and now you're starting to see, the people more in a more aggravated and aggressive type of spirit, going against the people that are in authority. 2 Ezra 15th chapter and 16th verse, going to how there shall be sedition among men. So things are progressively getting worse for America. The people are divided against itself, which is a terrible sign for a nation. So let's continue on with this video, just to go into the riots that are happening, which you also have one in Ecuador because of all the inflation, the food prices. So this place is through. Plays real quick.
This decision must not stand!
I also just want to say, abortion is off. It's wicked. It's abominable, which I didn't say in the beginning of the lesson, but it's literal murder. There's no justifying that wicked action, and it's completely off, man. And of course, you're going to have these people come with all these different excuses. Oh, it's not even alive, this and that, trying to justify their wicked action. There's nothing that you can do to justify that, man. It is murder, plain and simple, and the Lord's going to destroy you for that, man. But of course, you have these women pushing, oh, it's my body, my choice. Why do men have a say? Especially with the men that are in relationships, can't have no say. The woman can want to murder your child, get an abortion, and you will have no say in it. Which ultimately pushes rebellion, pushes disorder, which is completely off and wicked, showing you another reason why this place needs to be destroyed, man. And there's also another reason why these doubles, implemented and overturned Roe v. Wade, which we'll get later on in this lesson. But let's finish this off right here and get this one video to go a little more into what I just said.
Here we go.
So they basically left it up to states to where, if they're even allowing it, or the students have access to, abortions.
Abortion is legal, and here in California, we're doing everything we can to ensure that we'll have access for patients without barriers.
The answer to a crisis pregnancy is to care for the mother and to care for the baby in the womb. The womb is now, in Oklahoma, the safest place for a child to be.
Yo, these dumbasses were making a live on TikTok and they were explaining about how, pro-life is good, abortions are bad, yada yada, all this and that. And I had to pop in and give my 2 cents. And they were like, they're babies, it's a human. Humans have rights and you're gonna kill it? That's murder. And I'm like, listen, bitch. I would get pregnant just to abort it. You can't argue with me, okay? I'm psycho. I would fucking kill it. I would push myself down the fucking stairs. I would jump out of a plane to kill that baby. I do not want to give birth.
So you see just how nasty and atrocious and just wicked these women are, and the Lord's going to destroy them for that, man. And I guarantee you on that TikTok, you have women praising this woman for doing that. For saying those type of things. I do the same. Yeah, just justifying murder. There's just no getting around that, man. And you'll be destroyed for it. Well, you see, it's my body, my choice. You can't tell me what to do. As I said earlier, it promotes disorder, promotes, rebellion. It's completely off and wicked, man. This place everything is backwards, man. Basically putting the woman above everything. The men in a relationship have no say. You can kill their child and be justified. The men can't do anything about it. It just shows you how wicked this place is, man. And why this place needs to go. Lord's gonna tear these people up, man. Justifying murder and just... man. It gets you heated, man. These people are atrocious, man. And you wonder why the Lord's gonna tear this place up, man. But it's also going to another reason why these devils are overturning Roe v. Wade. Because it's completely backfired on them. They wanted abortions, and they ultimately specifically wanted to push it heavily onto our people, man, to keep us in low numbers, to keep us from multiplying and growing big. Which, going back to ancient Egypt, the same thing happened, which we'll get after this video.
The situation is that the new...
Lord, when I'm connecting this properly, there's different, kind of routes I wanted to take, or I'm trying to connect in this lesson. So Lord, I'm going to hit the points and you're being edified. So let's finish this off.
New York Times released last summer, and this was confirmed by the United States government and professional demographers, that 26 of 50 United States have a zero white population growth rate. That means more white people are dying than are being born in 26 of America's 50 states. They are connecting this to the extremely high drug abuse and drug death rate. According to the AP, in 2016, 60,000 white people died as a result of drug overdose. So if you're wondering why Alabama, Louisiana, Kentucky, all of these states are passing laws to restrict the freedoms of abortion, this is...
So you see them, trying to decrease and slow down those numbers of their own people, killing their own, completely backfire on these devils, because they push this heavily onto our people, onto Jake, especially the so-called black woman, man. But it's backfiring them, man. Their own people are doing it more than the people that they wanted it to happen to, for like Slovakia.
Why? They are trying to save themselves because the white population in this country is in serious trouble.
Also showing this kingdom is coming to an end, man.
According to their own experts.
Right now, white people are really frightened. If you don't understand the destruction of Planned Parenthood offices, and you don't understand the wall that we're going to build on the southern border of the United States, you haven't read the book, The Birth Dearth by Ben Wattenberg. Ben Wattenberg was a brilliant Jewish man who was a member of the American Enterprise Institute. And he wrote a book, the first paragraph of which says, the main problem confronting the United States today is there aren't enough white babies being born in this country. He was an advisor to presidents of the United States. He wrote the book in 1987. He says if we don't change this and change it rapidly, white people will lose their numerical majority in this country, and this will no longer be a white man's land. Now, I'm not misrepresenting this. I'm telling you almost exactly what he says. He says there are three things we can do to solve this. Number one, we could pay women to have babies, as they have been doing in Western European nations for years. Then he says, and these are his words, not mine, unfortunately, we would have to pay women of all colors to have babies, so we don't want to do that. He says the second thing we could do is increase the number of legal immigrants that are allowed into this country every year. Then once again he says, unfortunately, the vast majority of those wanting to come to this country today are people of color, so we don't want to do that. The third thing he says, and white women had better pay attention to this, 60% of the fetuses that are aborted every year are white. If we could keep that 60% alive, that would solve our birth dearth. Does that sound like racism to you? And if it doesn't, I want to know why.
Hey, completely backfire on these devils, man. But hey, this won't change nothing. Your kingdom is crumbling, and you will be destroyed very, very soon. But read Brother Challenge, the Esau low birth rate has him scared. Overturning Roe v. Wade will not save you. And guess what? It won't. But this is one last video I got going to the riot that's going on in Ecuador because of inflation and the gas prices and the food.
President Guillermo.
Just showing you it's not just happening just in America. Showing you once again we're nearing the end of this devil's kingdom, man.
Panic has replaced peace on the streets of Ecuador's capital. Quito, a city of 2 million, now virtually at a standstill as violent clashes between protesters, police, and soldiers continue into their second week. Today, demonstrators have set fire to tires, creating a haze in the midst of the chaos. Thousands of protesters supporting indigenous groups are demanding gasoline prices be cut by 45 cents to $2.10 a gallon.
So now imagine what's coming to America when those prices continue to skyrocket and rise. You're not gonna have truckers being able to pay that insane amount every single time. People that work long distances having to pay insane gas prices every single stop. These places do, but I'll leave this in the description below if you can go to for yourself. I don't make it super long, but the main point is going to this Roe v. Wade situation and ultimately why these devils are also overturning this. But let's start off with the book of Exodus. Just going to the few points that I've made. Going to as I mentioned earlier, same thing happened with the Egyptians because they feared the Israelites and them growing and multiplying. Man, you're seeing the same thing happen today. It said Exodus 1:8-10 said, "Now there rose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph, and he said unto his people, Behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we." So you see why you saw why this devil tried to ultimately push abortions specifically and heavily onto our people to keep us in a lower state, to keep us in low numbers, and from multiplying. Verse 10, "Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply. And it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land." There you go. And it's Ecclesiastes 1:9 to go into how there's nothing new under the sun. Same thing happening back today. The modern day Egyptians, which are Esau, man. Ecclesiastes 1:9 says, "The thing that had been is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there's no new thing under the sun." Same thing happening back today. So let's start off with book of 2 Ezra 15:6-17. Don't want to drag this out. Hit these scriptures and make the points. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. So the people that are in power, there's the people that are in authority. Presidents, mayors, policemen, people that are in authority and basically have power. And the course of their action shall stand in their power. Verse 17, "A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able to go into those restrictions, these lockdowns, martial law." So you see how they're slowly trying to take away your rights, where the people are not even paying attention to. They're just, distracted on these things. Let's go Isaiah 19:2. Which, coming soon, those lockdowns, and you'll be able to enter a city. You're going to need to have a certain thing, the MOTB, to even enter a different city, to pay, to buy things. These devils are causing all this different commotion. These, what's that one saying, order out of chaos, causing all the different problems, this commotion, in order to bring in the so-called solution to solve all the problems that they started, forcing you to, rely on them. But Isaiah 19:2 says, "And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom," which you see his nation divided. You have the people that's for the guns protesting against them. What you see now with the abortions, Roe v. Wade being overturned. You have many women especially angry, aggravated at the decision, protesting, which was protest yesterday, and now it turned in riots to today. Which is ultimately, a riots, and ultimately division is a terrible sign for a nation. 2 Ezra 9:5. Let's get back to third verse. It says, "Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world," which we are seeing now, uproars of the people everywhere, as it is said, in the world. You saw in Ecuador and here all over America. 2 Ezra 9:4 says, "Then shalt thou well understand that Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning." So for like is all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest, showing you we're nearing the end of this wicked kingdom. Let's get Luke 21:25, which actually is good. Matthew, put that ahead of that. But then Yahushua knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation. So this kingdom is not going to last very, very long. As in every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. So Yahushua speaking, saying a kingdom divided itself shall not stand. So showing you his kingdom is crumbling. His devil's kingdom is literally on its last leg, sinking down the drain. And nothing is going to save it. As you see, the devil's trying to halt and stop the numbers of their own people, killing their own, overturning Roe v. Wade to halt that and stop it to the best of their ability. But it's not going to matter, man, because you're going to be wiped out and destroyed, man. Verse 26, and if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand? There you go. Let's get Luke 21 and through 25. Let's get the 25th verse, which is the main point. I don't really need these other scriptures. Probably get verse 28 also. And there should be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars. So going to these end time signs that we would see before our Lord Yahweh shall make his return. Saying upon the earth the stress of nations with perplexity. Are we not seeing people in a more aggravated and aggressive spirit, rioting, protesting, fighting amongst the authorities, the government, that we just read in the book of 2nd Ezra 15th and the 16th verse? Come on. And I guess we get verse 28. Then when these things begin to come to pass, and look up and lift your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. We are almost out of here, man. Close these last two I got. First, book of Genesis 19 chapter. It's like, can't even speak. Genesis 9 and 7. Saying, you be fruitful and multiply. Showing these people are also against the Heavenly Father, against Yahweh B'Shem Shai. Promoting and trying to justify murder, getting abortions, supporting that wicked stuff, man, which the Lord is against. Saying, and you be ye fruitful and multiply. The Lord didn't say go out and murder your child, sacrifice them. Lord didn't say that, man. He said bring forth abundantly in the earth. We're supposed to be fruitful and multiply. We're supposed to have children, man, not murder them. And just show you how wicked this generation is, man. And you saw in that video how atrocious and nasty that wicked woman was. I guarantee you have women in those comments supporting and praising her, man. And you wonder why the Lord's going to tear up a lot of these women, man. And especially this place in general, man. But this is abundantly in the earth and multiply therein. Let's get Revelations 21 and 8 to go into what's going to happen to those murderers. Those people that got abortions. And that supports all those wicked actions, those wicked and abominable acts. It said, but the fearful and unbelieving and the abominable and murderers and whoremongers and sorcerers and idolaters and all liars. Read that one more time. But the fearful and unbelieving and the abominable and murderers. Literal murder. You're going to be destroyed. The Lord's going to tear you up. And you want to justify murder? Well, you're going to get tore up. And whoremongers and sorcerers and idolaters and all liars shall have the part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone. You're going to be destroyed by thermonuclear missiles. You want to justify trying to kill, a child, committing murder. You're going to be destroyed. Along with these other ones that you just saw as we just read. Shall have their part in the lake of fire which have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. So pretty much hit all the main points I wanted to push and go into. As you see, the uproars that's happening, the riots, the protests are taking place. Also, the reason why these devils are also trying to, or overturning it. Just how wicked these, nasty these women are. And ultimately how these devils are trying to do these things under your nose without you realizing when you also using it as a front, as a distraction. To do these things under your nose without you realizing once again, without you batting an eye, tightening those restrictions, ultimately trying to slowly get rid of your rights without you realizing what you see what them doing with the Second Amendment right, as we just talked about earlier, orchestrating all these different shootings in order to do these things. We're going to see many protests coming from that, many riots, which ultimately devils trying to do that so they don't have much of a fight when they come down with that great wrath. So Lord, when I hit the points and connected it to the best of my ability, went a few, or not really a few different routes, but I wanted to, connect to the best of my ability, certain things, but Laura and I still hit the main points, and you were edified. I do want to give all praises, all and glory to Yahweh Shem Shai, Shem Kakadash, the the apostles, and all the great millstone for teaching us this truth. Peace and blessings, all like to Israel, and shalom. See you next one.